Hi all, welcome you all to the lecture video session on critical path method, critical path method. In the last lecture video session, we discussed about the PERT program evaluation review technique and what are the how to construct a like a PERT diagram, and also we discussed about what are the important terminologies that are associated with the PERT diagram before constructing a PERT diagram for a complex task or a task. Let's understand what is critical path method, which is one more networking technique, which is a very popular technique. And critical path method is one of the project management tool, and it is a very popular tool, and it goes with the project modeling technique, and it is a sequence of stages where basically this is going to give us the time that is necessary to complete the task. It takes into amount it takes it takes all the task into all the tasks into consideration with the least amount of slack time. So the critical path method was first developed by Morgan R. Walker of DuPont, and that was in 1960s. And it was the combined effort of Morgan R. Walker of DuPont and James B. Kelly of Remington Rand. So both of them, they have developed this particular technique, which is going to be very helpful technique for project managers, and it is very well, very popularly, and most of the project manager uses this CPM method, and this is a very popular method. And this CPM can be used in the variety of projects, right from the service sector to the manufacturing sector. This can be used right from the construction, aerospace, defense to the software, and then the product development, engineering projects, and also it is useful in the maintenance and then the service sectors also. So the plant maintenance, if at all it is involved in it is to be developed by the project manager in the plant maintenance sector. There also it is going to be very helpful. So this critical path method, as we know that it is very popular. How do we define the critical path method? Critical path method is nothing but the critical path is the longest distance between the start and the finish of the project. It includes all the tasks, including all the tasks and their duration, which gives the clear picture of the project's actual schedule. This is the definition of the critical path in the critical path method. So the critical path is nothing but the longest distance between the start and the finish of the project, including all the tasks and then their duration, giving the clear picture of the project's actual schedule. So there is another term for the critical path method, which is nothing but it is the earliest. Another term for the critical path method is the earliest start date. So what is crash duration? This is a very interesting terminology that is used in the critical path method. Crash duration is nothing but the shortest amount of time that the task can be scheduled, moving around the resources, adding more towards the end of the task, and to decrease the time that is needed to complete the task. So this is called as the crash duration. Like any kind of crash course, it is also a crash duration which goes with the time that is involved in completing the task using all the resources. So let's understand what are the basic steps in order to construct a critical path using the critical path method. First step is to list all the tasks that is needed to complete the project. Work based structure can be used in order to identify the task, and then what are the tasks that are going to run around a project. So this has to be arranged in a hierarchical way, and decomposition of the project, noting down every deliverable, that is it should travel from the start to the finish. Next step is to note down the duration of each of the project that are involved. So after noting down the duration, next step is to note down the dependencies of the task, that if the first task is dependent on the second task, then it has to be noted down, and we have to collect all these dependable tasks, and this is the key element of the good task management, so that we can arrange those tasks which has got the interdependencies. Milestones in a project has to be identified here. Create the list of deliverables first and note down which are interdependable, which are independent. And when this data is gathered, the longest path of the planned task will take to reach the end of the project will be maintained, or will be noted down, or will be earliest and then the latest that each task can start and finish without impacting the project schedule. These are called as the milestones. And what milestones are in actually there, that being the two major phases, that is the major phases of any project, any like any project. So what are the deliverables? Let's understand what are the deliverables. When we say milestone, we need to understand what are the deliverables and create a list of all these deliverables. And when this data has been collected, we are able to calculate the longest path that we have planned and with the task, and we can construct the project schedule. Now what are the steps that are involved in developing a network? The steps involved, I have listed down some of the, all the steps here. The first one is, the first step for the network construction is to split the work contents into in the implementation of the project to the level of the activities which represents individual and then the dependent tasks. Individually, the category of the works have to be identified, and for example, if we take the preparation of the quantity survey involving drawings and specification, think about constructing a house or constructing any kind of building. First one is to conduct the survey of the particular place. Think of the infrastructure project. Then the infrastructure, once the infrastructure has to be developed, there the survey has to happen. First the survey has to happen, and then it involves the drawings and then the specifications. Once the survey is done, then we know the work contents in that particular before implementing the project. So second step that is involved in developing the network is arrange the activity in the sequential order of operation and establish the interrelationship of the activities. First, if at all we are constructing a house or constructing a building, then construction of the walls, concreting of the stairs, and constructing the second floor. All these sequential operations have to be done. Plastering and then the painting and the fabrication. All these things like it has to be arranged in the sequential order, and we have to establish the interrelationship of the activities. Third one is the event. Event is nothing but it is happening at a particular point of representing the completion of one or more activities at the same time. If the concreting is done, then if it is left for some time for the curing, then after this only they are going to remove the material that is used for the construction of the pillars or construction of any kind of columns. So there has to be a stipulated time that is given to the curing, and after this only they are going to remove the structure that is that was developed for supporting the concreting. So there are some other activities that emerges out of it. So that is the starting time of such other activity. So there are two types of events. One is the beginning of the event and the other one is the tail event. What is tail event? From where the activity emerges and terminates to another event is called as the head event, and the head event is the tail event of another activity. Here I have found out, we have constructed the diagram with the 4 different activities. The first one is the head activity or head event. The end of this head event is going to be the beginning of this second activity. So tail event of this one activity is going to be the head event of the second activity. That is a succeeding activity. So tail event of another another succeeding activity till we reach the other end of the activity, of the other end of the project schedule. This will be in the sequence. So activity is represented by the straight line and from left to right with the one arrow mark for each activity. Event is represented by a circle here. In the critical path method, circle represents the event, arrow mark represents the activity, that is a straight line arrow represents the activity. So there are certain important points in order to construct the network using the CPM. So they are loops and then the dangling should be avoided. What is dangling? This is dangling. This is this has got an indefinite path. After reaching this, what should happen? This is left out in the middle. So this dangling should not happen, and looping should not happen like this. So loops and dangling have to be avoided. As far as possible, avoid crossing of the arrows, like there should not be crossing of arrows like this. One activity should not go with the two other activity. So it is a trial and error. never ending situation, and dangling indicates an activity is left over. So both loop and dangling has to be avoided. What are the uses of CPM and PERT? I have listed out some of the uses of CPM and PERT, where this is going to be very handy and very helpful. First one is the research and development project, equipment maintenance and hauling in the manufacturing sector, construction projects, setting up of the new industry. It's going to give a clear cut idea that what is the time that is required, how successfully the project can be tracked, and then how successfully it can be broken down into different activities, and then what could be the time that that is required in the real sense in order to complete the project. So setting up the new industries, and then the planning and launching of new projects in the industry, designing of the plants, machines and systems, shifting the machinery manufacturing location from one location to another location, control of the production in the large shops, market preparation programs, organization of the big programs, conferences, organizing the big programs, conferences, and hospital planning of such issues of the cost and social security, and educational planning and development. CPM and PERT is also used in various accounting functions. They are also used in real estate development projects, and PERT and then the computer project scheduling software projects. So all in all, CPM and PERT are used in the manufacturing facilities, servicing facilities, and also servicing sectors, and also in the other sectors wherein the both the manufacturing and then the service facilities are involved. So the applications of the PERT are PERT principles are very popular in the places where the activity times are uncertain. So the PERT principles are also applied for the projects like hospital planning, educational planning and development, various accounting functions, real estate, and then the PERT and CPM, the project project scheduling softwares. And CPM is a very what are the limitations? There are though we know that the CPM and PERT are very advantageous in terms of implementing and understanding big projects, and then almost all kind of projects, there are certain limitations that are associated with CPM and PERT. If we see the critical path method, the limitations of the critical path method are it is very complex, and because it is anticipating the time, and it doesn't involve adapt well to the making changes on the fly. That is, if the project is on the movement, then it will not adapt to the time changes that are happening to each activity. And drawing a CPM diagram is very time consuming, because the activities and as well as the activities which are which are interrelated are going to create some of the delays, which are going to be a very big diagram in fact. So linking the activities with the time duration is going to be a big time representation of the entire activity. So it is very time consuming. Project task durations are the guessworks. It is it is less time reliable. It will not react to the time delays that are happening in the actual execution. Controlling of resources and the staff should be done in order to complete the critical path. Otherwise, CPM is not that helpful. So what are the limitations of the PERT? All activities involved are assumed in advance. So R&D projects, in the R&D project it is not possible. So the set of the projects that are assumed, that can be divided into predictable and unpredictable activities, that may be true, that may hold truths always, but it always emphasizes on time and but not the cost. PERT is also based on the PERT based time estimates, and there may be error in the estimating the time, and it can be expansive and then the time consuming exercise. It requires highly trained professionals in order to develop the PERT diagram, and there are uncertainty about the estimation of the time and the resources. Cost may be really higher than the conventional methods of planning and controlling. It is not suitable for relatively simple and the repetitive work, but it is definitely suitable for the complex work. With this, we are going to complete the module 5 with we learnt about the several techniques of the project management, which is really helpful in terms of career advancement in the project management. And we must understand that the networking techniques are to be thoroughly understood for each project and developed in actual sense in taking some of the examples. So in this entire lecture video series on module 5, we learnt about project management, meaning of the project, networking techniques, and generating investment proposal, how to write the project report, what should be the content of the project report, and what are the human and then the administrative aspects of the project management, which are very important. And also we learnt about the project implementation phase, and also how to make a successful project implementation using the networking techniques. In specific, PERT and CPM we learned, and then there are certain examples which can be executed, and to know the basic steps that are involved and how to construct the network diagrams. Thank you everyone for participating in the entire lecture video series on the module 5. And there are certain exceptional mentions which I would like to mention here. Go through the NPTEL video series on the project management, which is delivered by Professor Raghunandan Sen Gupta, Department of Industrial and Management Engineering, IIT Kanpur. And there are some exceptional references by the books Chandra P on the projects. These are all very good project management books, which are elementary, but which are going to be very simple and then easy to understand. Go through the NPTEL lecture video series on the project management, and I have mentioned about the video link in the previous sessions as well. And thank you everyone for participating in this lecture video session. Thank you.